Hey, story lovers. If you enjoy getting lost in powerful, emotional, or spine-chilling tales, make sure to subscribe and follow the channel. There's a new story waiting for you every week. But tonight's story is more than a ghost tale, it's a warning. Imagine walking down a hospital corridor long after midnight. The lights flicker. The wheels of an empty wheelchair begin to turn on their own, and at the far end of the hall, a doctor drenched in blood pushes his mother's chair closer and closer. Is it just exhaustion? Or has the night shift opened a door that should have stayed shut? Stay with me, because what happens next will test the line between life, death, and the secrets we're never meant to uncover. Life had become unbearable for Samantha. The weight of debt, disappointment, and despair crushed her so deeply that she decided to end everything. Together with her boyfriend, David, she climbed over the bridge railing and leaped into the river below. But fate chose differently. Strangers on the riverbank spotted her struggling and pulled her out. David was not so lucky. He sank beneath the cold black water, and his body was only recovered 2 days later, swollen and lifeless. Samantha opened her eyes in the hospital, coughing up water, her chest burning. Her relief turned into dread when she realized she was being treated in the very hospital where her younger brother, Daniel, worked as a nursing intern. Daniel loved his sister. They had been inseparable since childhood. But when he learned of her attempt, anger replaced his concern. He grew cold, his words sharp. You promised him you'd die together, but you lived. Do you know what that means? He won't leave you. He'll come back. Daniel didn't mean it literally. He didn't believe in ghosts. To him, everything could be explained by science, psychology, exhaustion. Yet the truth was harsher. David's ghost was restless, vengeful, and tethered to Samantha every night. She felt his presence. Shadows near her bed, whispers in her ear, cold hands tugging at her wrists. He wanted her to keep her promise. He wanted her to die with him. One night, in terror, Samantha confided in Helen, the hospital janitor. Helen had grey hair, tired eyes, and a quiet aura of wisdom. She listened, then nodded gravely. Not all who die move on. Some linger. I can help you, child. But you must stay strong. Through rituals and whispered prayers, Helen managed to weaken David's grip. For a time, Samantha could breathe again. But Helen's brow stayed furrowed with unease, because she did not know where David's spirit had gone. And then, at the end of that week, it was revealed. David had shifted. He was following Daniel. Daniel was practical, stubborn, and hardened by life. Their father had been abusive, an alcoholic who beat their mother, Mrs. Davis, and terrorized the family. Daniel had once pushed his drunken father away during a fight, and fate intervened. His father stumbled into the street and was struck by a truck. He died instantly. From that moment, Daniel hardened. He told himself he had to be strong, because he was the only man left in the family. He patched his own wounds when he fell, worked late nights to help his mother, and never asked for help. He didn't believe in spirits. To him, survival was about willpower. Ghosts. Superstition for the weak. But the hospital, the house of life and death, was about to break that conviction. One evening, during a quiet shift, the head nurse, Nurse Vanessa, gathered the interns. The fluorescent lights flickered above them as she spoke. She told them stories whispered for years, of a wheelchair that rolled by itself down the empty halls, of a doctor covered in blood pushing a patient who was already dead, of an old woman with tangled hair floating above the beds. The group of interns leaned closer. The silence in the room deepened. Daniel rolled his eyes. "You actually believe this crap?" The room froze. Nurse Vanessa's gaze sharpened like a blade. "I don't tell ghost stories to scare you. I tell them because this hospital is full of things you cannot explain. You may not believe now, Daniel, but the night will make you believe." That night, Daniel was assigned to a different wing for his overnight shift. The hallway leading to the morgue. The corridor stretched long and narrow, lined with flickering lights. His footsteps echoed on the cold linoleum. Each step felt heavier, as if the building itself resisted his presence. Halfway down, Daniel heard it a metallic clink. Something had fallen. He spun around. The hallway was empty. But then he felt it. A cold breath at the back of his neck. Slowly, he turned, and there, in the dim glow of the lights, stood David's ghost. His skin pale, water dripping from his clothes, his eyes hollow. Daniel's pulse thundered in his ears. He whispered to himself, "Not real. Just tired. Just tired." But the night had only begun. A wheelchair rolled past him empty, yet its wheels squeaked loudly. A hunched old woman crouched at the corner, her hair hiding her face. Then a Dr. Blood soaking his white coat, splattering onto the floor with each step. And at the very end of the hallway, Daniel saw the doctor pushing a wheelchair, a slumped body inside. Exactly as Nurse Vanessa had described. His breath caught. Sweat chilled his skin. But, stubborn as ever, Daniel clenched his fists and stepped forward. Following the apparition, the figure slipped through a door. Daniel forced it open. Inside was only a dusty storage room, but on the wall, a photograph. A young doctor, smiling beside his mother. The name beneath it, Dr. The next day, Daniel couldn't shake the image. He found Mr. Allen, the older night guard, and cautiously asked about the doctor in the photo. Mr. Allen's face went pale. He pulled Daniel aside, his voice dropping to a whisper. "You saw him, didn't you? Dr. Koa?" Daniel nodded, and the old man began to tell the story buried for more than 20 years. Dr. Koa had been a brilliant cardiologist. He saved countless lives, reviving patients who were moments from death. Families adored him. Patients prayed to be in his care. Daniel brushed it off, but unease gnawed at him. His exhaustion deepened. During another late shift, Duke, the younger guard, approached. "Your sister. How's she doing?" Daniel frowned. "How do you know about her?" Duke smirked. "This hospital is small. Everyone knows. You saw something, didn't you?" Daniel stiffened. He didn't reply. Duke pressed a folded charm into his hand. "Here, keep this. I've been working nights here for years. Never seen a ghost once." Because of this, Daniel scoffed, but slid the talisman into his pocket anyway. That night, he sat in the same hallway, charm clutched in his hand. Hours passed in silence. No whispers, no apparitions. Perhaps it worked, but then, he wasn't alone. His sister, Samantha, appeared at the end of the hall. Pale, trembling, her voice desperate. "Daniel, please. Stop being so stubborn. Don't carry this alone. You can't fight everything by yourself." Daniel's chest ached. He opened his mouth to answer, but as he stepped closer, she vanished. His phone buzzed. He called Samantha immediately. She answered, groggy. What? I was sleeping. Why are you calling me? Daniel froze. His sister was asleep in her ward. Who had he been speaking to? Later that week, Daniel's exhaustion peaked. Fever racked his body. He collapsed onto his bed and drifted into a heavy sleep. In his dream, more was it reality. He stood once again in the hallway. At the far end, the blood-soaked doctor appeared. His head bowed, his hands gripping the handles of the wheelchair. The figure in the chair slumped lifeless, hair covering her face. The wheels squeaked. The sound echoed like screams. Closer, closer. Daniel's breath caught. His hands shook. But he whispered fiercely, not real, not real. Then the doctor lifted his head. His eyes were hollow pits. His mouth twisted into an inhuman smile. Blood dripped onto the floor, spreading toward Daniel's shoes. He stumbled back, then jolted awake in his own bed. His phone buzzed. Nurse Vanessa on the screen. The name Dr. Koa echoed in his head. The image of the doctor's ghost burned into his memory, unable to resist. Daniel asked about Dr. Koa, but staff shook their heads, pretending ignorance. Only Mr. Allen admitted the truth. He showed himself to you, Daniel. Ghosts don't do that without a reason. Ask yourself, why you? Daniel thought of Samantha, still haunted by David, of the despair that killed their father, of the cruel whispers that destroyed Dr. Koa. He realized this was not just about ghosts. It was about the pain people carry, the weight of grief, the cruelty of words, and sometimes that pain does not die with the body. It lingers. It becomes the ghost. That night, Daniel sat once more in the haunted hallway. His hand empty, he had thrown the talisman away. The air grew colder. Shadows deepened. He knew the doctor's ghost would return. But this time, Daniel whispered to himself, not with denial, but with grim acceptance. You're real. And you want something from me. The hallway stretched endlessly before him, the hum of the lights fading into silence, and as the wheelchair's distant squeak echoed closer, Daniel finally understood. This was not just a haunting. This was a story of sorrow too heavy to carry. The haunted hospital still held its secrets, and Daniel's nightmare was only beginning.